If you are a business owner, you are no doubt hearing all of the hype about AI. You're hearing about how the world is going to be completely different really soon. AI is revolutionizing everything. Nothing's going to be the same. And anybody who doesn't jump on board the AI train right now is going to be left behind. And you probably are thinking like, man, what do I actually do with this other than, maybe you're jumping in and using ChatGPT a little bit or Gemini or Grok or something like that. But for the most part, in the back of your mind, you're kind of wondering, like, what can I actually do with my business to boost, my utilization of AI to make sure that I'm not one of the dinosaurs who just gets left behind when the AI train leaves the station. So I get asked this basic question from business owners pretty much every day at this point. So I'm Cameron. I am a lifelong programmer. I own a software development company that does millions of dollars of software development every year. And we do a lot of AI-based development. Not only do we use AI a ton as we develop code, we also work on integrating AI into different systems and business processes for different business owners. And so I run into this question firsthand a lot. And I wanted to talk about like what is hype and what is not hype and where the real truth is. I think there's sort of a middle ground here, and I want to clarify a little bit of that for you. The first thing I want to do, however, I want to talk about the value processing mechanism. This is a post that I wrote on LinkedIn, sort of as all of the AI hype was starting to come into play, right when ChatGPT was released. And I think it's really, really true. It keeps ringing more and more true as we go down the line. So, let's dive in here, and I'm just going to read this post real quick for you so that you can understand what I'm talking about when I talk about the cycle of technology and how it really integrates with our value processing mechanism and what we consider true and false. And I think it answers a lot of questions about, AI and what's going to happen with AI and all that sort of thing. So I'm just going to read this to you real quick. Part of our value processing mechanism is an attraction to things that are difficult to attain or maintain. We're attracted to wealth, fitness, athleticism, compelling storytelling, gorgeous designs, creative music because they are difficult. These difficult things represent overcoming, a trait that ensures survival and progress. Biologically, we recognize that we want our progeny to benefit from exceptional opportunity born out of exceptional effort. So we desire to mate with and surround ourselves with those who are doing things that are exceptional, read, difficult to attain. Technology has raced to make difficult things easy, and it inevitably succeeds. It was hard to get a message from New York to Atlanta. Now it is easy. It was hard to write a coherent, grammatically correct paper on the Industrial Revolution. Now it is easy. The irony is that the promise of technology is that we can attract others by using this technology. You can create the same attractive, remarkable results, but they'll be easy for you. They will be impressed, but you'll have to put in little effort. In a nutshell, that is the story told and sold by most technology products. The funny thing is that this actually begins a cycle. As new technology comes about, it actually does deliver on its promise. Early adopters are able to flash the same results as those who put in the effort, and the attraction is there. Then, over time, the technology becomes ubiquitous, and people realize how easy it is. Then its luster is lost. It is no longer valuable or attractive. No one marvels. And so, as each shiny new piece of technology ushers in an easy way to do things we used to find difficult/attractive, the value of that output is lost in our eyes. The next time you dream about something that is currently difficult becoming easy, just remember, once it is, it will no longer be seen as valuable. So I think that whole discussion about what we value is really critically important to this discussion. Um, so what I want to talk about is the difficulty of being an early adopter, and contrast that with the difficulty of being a modeler, and sort of those two different approaches to handling business. So one of the things I learned when I first got into business, it was very hard because I didn't really have, like most business owners starting out, I didn't have any background in business. I didn't have any understanding of what works and what doesn't. And so I did a lot of experiments. I just tried a lot of stuff. Then I heard Tony Robbins actually talk about something called modeling. Modeling was the idea of, if you want to achieve something, you look at someone who has already done that thing. You basically copy what they do. You look at the results, you see, hey, they're getting the results that I want to get. You copy what they do and you see if you get the same results. And if you do, awesome. But it is just a faster way to like look at what is already being modeled for you and just learn from it and utilize the methodologies that they put in place. It works particularly well if they are in the same type of industry or they are, doing the same type of thing, offering the same type of product. The more their situation maps onto your situation, the same type of, clientele, the same type of demographic or region, the more it maps onto your scenario, the more you can model and get the same type of results that they are getting. And so modeling started to save me a lot of time and effort. I could just kind of say, well, who's getting the results that I'm looking for? I could go study what they were doing. I could call them and ask questions. And then I would find that I could often make business progress a lot faster than if I had to spend months and months and months trying a whole bunch of different ways and measuring the output of those different ways. It was a lot faster. Now, modeling requires success and convention, right? So success, AKA, we need to look at it and see the output and go, okay, hey, I want that output. And then convention, AKA, this industry has been around long enough, this type of business has been around long enough, this demographic of client has been around long enough, and this particular business has been serving it long enough that I can observe the patterns of that business and I can model off of those patterns, and it makes sense to do, right? So you really have to have those things in place. Now, when you are on the other side, when you are innovating, when you are actually doing something brand new and you are, being an early adopter and, grabbing these brand new technologies and figuring out how to integrate them, a lot of people think that that is going to be some kind of shortcut, right? It's a shortcut that is easier than modeling or whatever. It's just something that, is going to save them time and allow them to like get ahead of everybody else. No, I think that is the myth. The myth is that early adoption is easy. Early adoption is not easy. For sure, the first people who ever found out about ChatGPT, I found out about it before anybody really knew about it because I have been talking about AI for a long time. I did a talk on AI for the Chamber of Commerce in 2017. I was talking about it way before then. In, 2010 and 2015, I was driving people crazy talking about AI. So I've always kind of been watching news on AI, and then all of a sudden it exploded into global popularity, and I didn't feel so cool anymore. I felt like I was just talking about the topic everybody else cared about. But I saw ChatGPT really early on. I was one of the early adopters who got it, and I thought, man, I could use this, and I could, start writing copy for websites way faster and charge clients for that. I could like write a book really fast, and yes, that would have worked. I didn't do that per se at that time. I definitely used it to organize my thoughts and to get some, to get some rough drafts together. I wanted to have more integrity than just like, throwing out whatever ChatGPT gave me. And it didn't really give me quality that I was happy with out of the gate, but it was very helpful for an early start. It was decent at, working on code and things like that. So I was able to get some early benefit out of it. But now, everybody understands that you can use ChatGPT for a rough draft. Everybody understands that you can basically use ChatGPT as like the stock, the stock photos, but the like copywriting version of stock photos for your website. So I'm not able to like get ahead in that game anymore as I was when I was an early adopter. Now, here's the thing. Like, it was only months before that technology became ubiquitous, and almost everybody I know who's remotely in the know about stuff is using ChatGPT, right? So now, if I really want to be an early adopter and I want my edge to be like, hey, I'm the early adopter who goes and finds and implements the new technologies, I have to be hunting for the new one now. And as soon as that's out, I have to hunt for the next one and the next one and the next one. And they're all coming down the pipeline faster and faster because of the speed of technological innovation continually increasing. So this whole idea of like being an early adopter means you get this edge. That is true, but it also takes a tremendous amount of time and effort to be an early adopter. It also takes a tremendous amount of time and effort to be an innovator. I continually have companies come to me and ask for AI integrations for all sorts of different things. They want to use glossaries or, help bots or jargon, thesauruses, and they want to use, integrations to inventory management. They want to, use it to detect and determine different types of things within, customer interaction contexts, and they want to use it to recommend content to their users. They have all sorts of different methodologies of doing this. And I have basically been saying like, hey, yeah, we can implement that, but let's do an A/B test on it, right? Let's serve up one version to 50% of the users and use this AI model, and let's do the normal version for the other half, and during the same time period, randomly assigned, and let's just see if it works. Let's just test the theory and build a prototype of this thing. Let's work on all this stuff. And as it turns out, like, AI is not the easy button at this moment that we think that it is. It actually takes some work to integrate these new methodologies and to put these new things into practice. And you can't model. Does that make sense? Like, you can't just look at what other people are doing and figure out, hey, those are the conventions that get the results I want, and I can just do that, and then I'm going to get this result, and it's going to be great, because we have not standardized how AI is going to look as it proliferates into the world yet. There are some things that are starting to become standard. For instance, very normal standard now is to use ChatGPT in your business. So if you are writing, like, let's say a very normal thing to do is to have an AI bot go to all your meetings and take notes, and then send out meeting notes afterwards, and then make a to-do list. That's a very normal thing to do. Another very normal thing to do now is to train an AI chatbot on all of your help content so that it can give AI answers to customers who chat with the bot. I was interacting with one earlier that knew everything about the particular API that I was utilizing because it had been trained on that API. That bot was really helpful. I didn't need a customer service agent. So that's another thing that's really common and useful. Definitely, using AI for training purposes. So, maybe like when you do something that is a process within your business, have an AI bot come along with you and have it do a transcription that it turns into a standard operating procedure document that you can share in a training context. That's a pretty normal thing to do with AI. Or, just training all your staff to, if they need to like write a document or start a process or whatever, learn how to jump in to ChatGPT or Grok or whatever and just get an outline very quickly output so that they aren't stuck and they're not like spinning their wheels trying to get started on something. They at least have something to like or dislike or work off of to get them going. So those are some like normal conventions of AI utilization that are starting to happen. But a lot of these like bigger scale or more complex, like, hey, can you help me plug into this logistics management software to be able to, dispatch my trucks or whatever? Those are not established yet. That is stuff that you will have to innovate on, which means you are going to have to, um, you know, uh, have yourself or a team working on this. Right now, it's not like straightforward and easy to just like plug in an AI and make it work on these things for you. In a lot of cases, you have to like integrate your system using application development, using different API configurations and stuff like that to actually get um, the AI to be able to talk to your systems. And then you've got to do extensive testing to make sure that it gives good results. You've got to watch out for hallucinations because the AI hallucinates all the time. It's giving you something that is probabilistically the most likely output to what you need. It's not necessarily giving you what you need, right? So you will all the time get completely fake answers. I mean, today I was programming with AI and it was just like using functions that don't exist because probabilistically they probably should exist. I never built those functions. They weren't anywhere in my code base. They aren't normal functions that are anywhere on the internet, but it just assumed you can use those. You can't. A lot of people have gotten in trouble for hallucinations because they have put out medical journal reports or they've done a legal case as an attorney and there's a hallucination in there. So it is not this like easy plug and place scenario. It is a slog, just like every other kind of work. It is hard work to make sure that the system works well and you can implement it. So I said to a business owner today, I was just saying, at the moment for your industry, you're going to work the same amount as hard if you like take something that we know works. So let's say like the EOS process, the entrepreneurial operating system, and you get really clear about like your job titles and your visionaries and you work on your processes and you like follow that model and you get your big rocks in place and everything. If you do that, you'll probably have a lot of success just by virtue of putting a lot of effort and time into that and really measuring your results. You might have success if you decide to go chase down the AI route and you want to be the new adopter of conventions and things like that. If you want to do that, awesome, but don't expect that to be less hard. And the results are actually less certain because if you're doing something that hasn't been done before, yes, the payoff could be greater, but the work, even if it sounds like because Silicon Valley has marketed it as this like super easy button technology, even if it sounds like that, it may not necessarily be like that. It's actually probably going to be kind of hard to implement this sort of thing, and you're going to have to put in a lot more manual time and measurement and effort than you think you're going to have to put in. And once you're done, yeah, maybe you'll have something amazing, but it's going to be proportionate to the effort that you put in, like everything else. And once things move from the early adopter stage where they're really hard to figure out and get right and dial in and your results aren't certain and you might put in a lot of effort and it won't work at all. And then another time with another idea, you might put in a lot of effort and you might get it. Once it moves from that to now we have conventions, right? Um, you can model off of the conventions and you will get positive results, but things that are easy will no longer be seen as valuable, right? Just like, those AI bot chats were amazing right up front, but we're already starting to get used to them. I'm not really necessarily impressed by an AI bot that can tell me everything that is in the documentation for a particular product anymore. I like that it's there. It's helpful that it's there. It's good that it's available, but it doesn't wow me anymore. I just sort of expect that as part of the universe, and that is exactly what I mean by things lose their luster as they become less difficult. And so I think my message for business owners is like, I think it's great if you can try to learn about AI as much as you possibly can. Try it out. Spend a day trying everything you possibly can, every possible AI tool. I made a list of AI tools I think were really are really valuable and worth trying. If you have half a Saturday that you can just like kick around on some tools, it's worth taking a half day just to get familiar with the tools that are out there. If you want that list, throw a comment or something or send me a message. Um, but I think it's really worth taking the time to learn all of that. But at the same time, um, it takes a lot of effort to get something in place, and effort is valuable. Effort that's difficult is valuable. And I don't think AI is going to change that. As things become easy and the easy button, as the easy button is pushed more and more, we're just going to value it less and less. And so, get out there, do what is hard, do what is valuable. And I think for me, I've been thinking a lot about like, I think it might be Jeff Bezos who, with the whole Amazon thing, like he said, every day is day zero, right? Or every day is day one or something like that. I've been thinking about that quote a lot because, I get to this point where I'm like, oh, I just want everything to be scalable. I just want it to be like all set up for me. I just want my business to run itself. I just want to be, I feel like I'm doing something wrong if I'm not off in Hawaii, enjoying my super bougie life while my business runs itself far away. I feel like I've done something wrong. But the reality is that business is hard and stuff that is valuable is difficult. That's part of how it all works. And I think people are just like waking up to that. That's most of the time how it works. And I think that's okay. So hopefully this is helpful and clarifying. Let me know if you got some thoughts in the comments. Thanks.